everyone. Today I'm going to tell you about the British Empire, one of the most powerful empires in the world history. It shapes politics, language, economy and culture all around the world. And its legacy can still be seen today. Okay, let's start. The British Empire began to form in the late 1500s and early 1600s when English explorers the trader started building colonials and trading posts overseas. At first, they focused on places like North America, the Caribbean, Africa, India, often through the East India Company, which was founded in 1600 and eventually became so influential that it controlled large territories, collected taxes and maintained a private army larger than the most European states. So these colonials supplied raw materials like sugar, cotton, tobacco and spice, while Britain exported manufactured goods in return. This system was called mercantilism, and it made Britain very rich, especially during the Industrial Revolution when British factories relied heavily on colonial raw materials. So by the 19th and early 20th centuries, the British Empire had become the largest empire in history. At its peak, it ruled over about 14 million people and covered around one-fourth of the world's land area, spanning across religions in every inhabited continent. That's why people used to say the sun never sets on the British Empire. The empire controlled many different religions, India known as the jewel in the crown because of the enormous population and economic values. Australia and Canada, which become dominant with their government after the passage of the Setcat of Westminster in 1931, and many parts of America and Asia under British administrations including Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, Malaysia, Singapore, and Hong Kong. So, however, not everything was glorious. The British Empire was also built on conflict, exploitation, and inequality. The slave trade played a big part in the economy for centuries, especially during the 7th and 18th, when millions of enslaved Africans were transported to the African on British ships, until slavery was abolished in the British Empire in 1833. In colonials, local people were oppressed, taxed, displaced from their land and their resources taken to British benefit, leading to uprisings such as Indian Red Lion of 1857 and later a movement led by figures like Mahatma Gandhi. In the 20th century, after the World Wars, weakened Britain economically and politically, the empire began to decline. Many colonials started demanding independence, and Britain could no longer control them all. The most famous example in India, which gained independence in 1947 and inspired independence movement around the world. Later, dozens of centuries followed, and the empire slowly transformed into the Commonwealth of Nations, a group of independent countries that still share historical ties with Britain and cooperate on the culture, political, and economic matters. Today, the legacy of the British Empire is everywhere. English has become a global language spoken across continents. Many legal and political systems still follow the British model, and the influence the British culture remains strong in education, literature, sports like cricket and football, and global trade. But at the same time, people continue to debate the darker side of empire about colonialism, exploitation, and cultural loss, and how these historical inequalities still shape modern societies. In short, the story of the British Empire is a story of power and progress, but also of struggle and injustice. It reminds us that great power comes with great responsibility, and that understanding history helps us build a better future. So I think that's all. Thank you for your attention.